Hi, everybody, and welcome to our next to last session for June 7th for BB Dev Days. Today, for this session, we're going to learn how you can work with Red Arc to launch your own Razor's Edge NXT app and a case study with Civic Champs volunteer management integration. So Stu and Geng, we have you both here to present on this for the next 30 minutes. So I'm not going to waste any more of your time and give you full control. So it's in your hands.
Awesome. Thanks so much. Yes, Stu, do you wanna sort of kick it off here? I'll advance to this next slide.
Fantastic. Well, first of all, welcome. Thank you all for coming. I imagine that it's getting towards the end of your day, so thank you for taking the time to be here. I'm very excited to be doing this with Geng. We've been hanging out on Zoom for quite a long time now, so I feel like you're up for a double act here. So I think it's going to be really good. So who are we? Who are Red Arc? So we are a software company here in Sydney, Australia, and that is not a koala, by the way, on that slide there. Well, you'll find out in a second what that is. It does look a lot like a koala, but it's not a koala. So basically, we're very much part of the Blackbaud world, what we like to call the Blackbaud partner ecosystem, and because this is kind of about the partner ecosystem, this presentation. So basically, the partner ecosystem is there because Blackbaud is fantastic, but also a finite resource. But Blackbaud, in their wisdom, have created a partner ecosystem around that with fantastic partners like Civic Champs and many, many more. And the partner ecosystem, turns a finite resource into a theoretically an infinite resource of incredible extensions to Blackbaud apps. So what we're going to be talking about today is how we worked, how Civic Champs, graciously decided to work with us to create. They already had a fantastic app, and they worked with us to connect that into Razor's Edge. That's what we're going to be talking about. And let me just go to the next slide because I can then tell you what we do. So, oh, hang on, I can't go to the next slide. There we go. Oh, hang on. Let's quickly talk about the drop bears. So as I mentioned, that was not koala's drop bear. Now, if you've been here since yesterday, you'll know about the drop bear hunt, the drop bear scavenger hunt. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but there's a fantastic prize that includes Vegemite and a hat with corks on it, and a subscription to Letterboxd. So there is fact number 9, and if you're looking for the facts, there's fact number 9. You want to pick that up. So let's move on to the next slide. Okay, so what we do is we build apps for Razor's Edge NXT. So as mentioned before, Razor's Edge is a fantastic CRM, but when you put apps around it, it becomes an incredible CRM that can just do anything that the partner ecosystem can. So we have 16 apps on the marketplace. I just checked. We have the most 5-star reviews on the marketplace as it stands, and that's what we do. And the reason we do it is because there's so many features, so many things that can be developed. And we want to be part of getting those out to customers so that they can do more with Razor's Edge. So if we could jump to the next slide. There we go. This is a new slide. I did this morning. So what people may not know is that what you just saw was our apps, which we develop and maintain, and that's what we do. But we also have developed apps, built apps for partners and even for Blackbaud. So because in order to build our apps, what we did, we built an NXT integration stack, which is basically a whole bunch of services that power all the stuff that connects to and interacts with NXT. So we realized when talking with people like Geng that that NXT integration stack could be used along with our experience, not just technical, but like commercial experience of what works in terms of an app inside NXT. So we realized that could be used for other people. So we've got this stack, and on top of that, we've built a number of apps for partners. And if you jump to the next slide, there's a couple of, there we go. Our favorite, of course, Civic Champs is one of our favorites. And that is a fairly obvious thing to do in a presentation, but genuinely, Mike and Geng are fantastic people to work with. It is Civic Champs itself, the volunteer management system is amazing. But what we really loved about working with them is that as you'll find out later on when we get to the demo, they really push the envelope in really great ways. So they're like, well, why can't we just do this? And we was like, oh, okay, that's a fantastic idea. So they're exactly the kind of people you want to work with. People are great to work with, and push the solution to more things. We also got to work with DocuSign. That's one of our favorites, and award mention, because it's always great to work with Blackbaud, which is great. So there may be one more slide, or maybe a hand back to Geng. There you go. Over to you, Geng. Long intro.
All right.
Over to you, mate.
Yeah. Thank you, Stu, and thanks for all the kind words. And so just real quickly on my end, my name is Geng Wang. I'm the CEO and co-founder at Civic Champs. And so, what we do is we create the most intuitive, impactful volunteer management platform for nonprofits and their champions. And really the reason we do this is because, so many nonprofits still rely on pen and paper and manual processes for a number of things, whether that's waivers management, whether that's, tracking hours, maybe even scheduling, right? And so what we want to do is really digitize all of that and make it a seamless experience for both volunteers and the nonprofits. And so the impact of that is we've been able to triple the impact or capacity of volunteer programs across our customer base, while reducing sort of manual and clerical tasks by about 85%, right? So super, super proud of what we've been able to do. And the platform itself, real quickly, right? So we try to be there for every stage of that volunteer journey, right? From recruiting to onboarding and training to scheduling, engagement, retention, and reporting. We want to make sure that we can support volunteer managers every step of the way. And now with this Razor's Edge NXT integration that RedArc has helped us build, we can also bring that information into RENXT. So for your development or gift officers, they have that rich data to be, so you can do customized campaigns, right? You can have better insights in terms of when you had that coffee chat one-on-one with a major donor, what kind of volunteering do they like to do with you? When was the last time they were active, things like that. And so for folks that haven't seen Civic Champs in the past, right, very quickly, right, so we have both mobile, website, kiosk functionality, but this is just a sort of a simple check-in flow that you see on the screen here. And basically, within 2 taps, so hit that big blue button, select the event, and you're checked in, right? So we try to make things really, really simple for folks. And at this point, if a volunteer decides to delete the app, all of that is totally fine. It'll automatically check them out at the end of the day. And one of the other things that we do is we also collect feedback. So at the end of a shift, we collect feedback from folks. We ask, and if they were happy, we allow them to provide a small dollar donation to the organization through what we call micro donations. So also really different, I think, from a lot of the other platforms out there. And so I think this is one of our more unique features. And then last but not least, of course, everyone cares about reporting, right? And so this is just a screenshot of our reporting screen. And so you're able to get sort of immediate access to key statistics. You can customize the views that you have. We have really powerful search and filtering tools. So that hopefully gives folks a little bit of context on Civic Champs. I know that was a lot and not a lot of time. But to dive into the partnership we've had with RedArc and Stu, the way we got introduced is actually through the Blackbaud Social Good Startup Program. And so here we were the cohort, I think, from last year, not this current cohort. And so we were one of the companies, and we said, what we'd love to do as part of the program is create an integration with RENXT. And so we had the classic problem of, whether we build it or do we buy it, right? And so we ultimately decided to work with RedArc because, one, Stu already sort of covered, they're super, super knowledgeable about the Blackbaud ecosystem. And by the way, they were the folks that were, most recommended, if I can say that, by the social good startup team within Blackbaud. So they're, well loved by the Blackbaud team themselves. And then through our experience, we could tell even from their proposal that they sent us that they just really knew technically how to execute, right? And the evidence is out on the Blackbaud Marketplace with 16 apps. There's no other firm that knows how to do integrations better than RedArc, right? And we are a startup, and so pricing is important. And I would say for the quality work, there's really nothing better out there. And that's really proven to be true, I think. So, but I'll toss us back to Stu to sort of talk about our actual integration and what we built, or what you all, worked with us to build.
Thank you, Geng, also for your very kind words. I was actually a little bit nervous about what you were going to say. Not because I expected anything bad, but I was thinking it was going to be awkward. Anyway, so thank you, Geng. It's mutual. All right. So when we work with another organization to build an app, what we've realized over the years of building our own apps, if you're doing integration into an existing platform, there's like a pattern. I can't say we thought it up, but it's like there's a pattern that emerged. There's like certain things that most integrations will include. So the pattern is that you're going to have some kind of visual element. So you've got a visual element, and that typically would be a constituent tile or maybe a GIF tile. So you've got sorry, Geng, you can stay back. You can stay back on the first one. I'm gonna come back here. So you got like this visual element and constituent tile, and then like the next thing you're going to need is you're going to actually move some data. So visual is fantastic. Visual is why NXT is NXT. If you don't have a visual element, you're kind of missing the point of having NXT. But then you've also got to have data, because you want to give people the ability to do things. And the third thing that an app will have that there'll be like the main app itself, and that will like be configuration, stuff like that. Now, as I mentioned before, Civic Champs, they push the element push the envelope right from the beginning. So there's the 3 element. They already added a 4th element right from the beginning. So what we're watching here going on rotate is, you can see there's any second now, you'll see there's a homepage tile. So this is the only app we've ever built that has a homepage tile. Civic Champs fantastically pushing the envelope. So this gives you some key figures, as you can see there. And then there's this button there that opens up the main Civic Champs dashboard. So that is right there on the homepage of NXT. It makes it super obvious, super easy to find, easier to find than our apps, if I'm honest. So great job, Civic Champs. And so that's like the first element: homepage, overview, and then detail. All right, if we get to the next slide, I'll go into the other 3 elements. So this is the like the visual element. So this tile here sits on the constituent page, and you can see it gives like the overview of that constituent's activity, volunteering activity. So the idea is that any member of the organization's team can open up a constituent page. They don't have to do anything complicated. They got this now that graphic there with the colors. I think the colors were also Civic Champs request. We kind of often do shades of blue, it being Blackbaud world, and there's different colors, which makes it stand out much more, which is brilliant. So the idea is you got constituent page, you open it up, you can see this thing on there that's like stands out. You go there and it's like, I can see straight away this person volunteers. So say you've got you've even got them on the phone, you straight away know what they're doing. So it gives the whole of the organization's team access, like a window into Civic Champs for that particular constituent. So as you can see, it's got a graphic that's mainly designed to catch people's eye. You've got some key stats for that constituent, and then there's another tab. This is a slide, but if you were to go over, the other thing that we often include is you've got details, and that it gives a list of the actual events that they've been to. So that's what you put on a constituent. That's the visual element. So if we jump to the next slide. So this is the app itself. So all of our apps contain some kind of main control panel configuration. One would hope one of our design goals is that the configuration page is not a place you go on a regular basis. We love to build apps that you go in and you set them up, and then you don't do anything else. It just displays you the data or moves the data or whatever that app is doing. So we're not big fans of for other people's apps making a place where you have to go and push buttons. So this is Civic Champs control panel. Now we do have a pattern, but we very much like the first stage is like talking with the organization, and they said, well, we want to do this, this, and this, and we said, well, some of those are fantastic because having built apps ourselves, we also have like commercial's not quite the right word, but we don't just have a technical understanding, we also have an understanding of what works in apps. So in this particular case, we worked through what data to bring over. So these are events. So we had a long discussion around whether to bring over individual events into the event module, and what we suggested and what we came to was that this there's like key data points at the most, like the key things you want to know about that constituent. So in this control panel, what you do is you set up where those are going to be written to. So there's now, Geng, you might be able to tell me what the 3 data points are.
Yeah, and so a couple things that this is doing, right? One is it's allowing organizations to sync your volunteer list into Civic Champs initially, right? So you don't have to upload any files, you get started right away, right? Just like super quick, right? And that's really nice. And the other thing is it allows you to sync over new volunteers from Civic Champs, and it automatically creates new profiles into NXT. And then also you'll see that sync constituent update button. Basically that allows us to sync additional sort of biographical details, right? So if someone updates their phone number, updates their email, your NXT profile will get updated. And then below, what you're saying, sync volunteer activities. So that's bringing over the data around your volunteer hours, your volunteer dates, your last time that they were active. They're rolling 12 months, amount of volunteering. And so you have that data that you can then run reports on within NXT, in addition to seeing it on that visual tile as well. So again, sort of fantastic job done by Stu and his team in terms of making that super seamless.
Thank you, Geng. And it's really, really important if you in the audience here, if you are thinking about integrating your app into NXT, it's really important really thinking through what you want to bring in, because the temptation is to bring in everything, which is not often the best plan. So the way that this one is done with those 3 data points, it does give you information inside of NXT you can do reporting on, but also it's like good data, environmentally friendliness, because it's not like filling up Razor's Edge with stuff that really isn't that helpful. And the more targeted the data you bring across is, the more helpful it's going to be. So thanks for that, Geng. Next slide, because the next slide is another envelope push, actually. So we very rarely have any kind of like sync across in the other direction in terms of moving people from RE. Well, we normally don't have them in both directions, but the use case here was that if there's a whole bunch of people in NXT to start with, and they've just taken on Civic Champs, then you want to seed that with all the people from Razor's Edge who are going to be, you put them out into volunteer. So then Civic Champs starts off with all your people from Razor's Edge, and it makes it very easy to start using Civic Champs. So we loved building this, but this is what I do remember these discussions. This is one of our favorite features. So basically what it allows you to do, it allows you to select a list of people and push, which sounds simple, a list of people and push them over to Civic Champs. But it does it for the user in an incredibly seamless way. So what you're seeing here is like the very small number of clicks that the person using had to, basically they select a list, and then they push a button and it says send it to Civic Champs, and then they'll get a notification on the screen. But then what we loved about it is it's actually it's asynchronous, which means it then hands it over to Civic Champs. But what we ended up doing was, like, we split the functionality between the integration and Civic Champs itself. So what happens behind the scenes is Civic Champs get a notification that somebody wants to push over their stuff. They know, they get the list, and then like Civic Champs, Mike and his team, they've developed something on their end that then actually imports it and then carries on the process in getting those into Civic Champs. So the user has this incredibly seamless, like they push a button, they get an email from Civic Champs. It all is fantastic. Behind the scenes, because we split the development work rather than rebuilding all of that into the integration, that made it much, much more efficient in terms of like using each company's skills and reducing the total amount of development involved. So I love this feature because it it's just like a classic kind of, we are a developers conference. So this is a classic like thing that you love to do as a developer. You make it super straightforward for the user, and behind the scenes, you've made it really, really efficient and use all of the, leveraged all of the assets available to you. So that is the integration. It's got the visual element. It's got the fantastic homepage style that makes it really easy to find and gives you totals for the whole of the organization. And then it moves data in ways that are going to describe. And you've got this extra part that gives it a seamless way for for organizations to set up their Civic Champs in the first place. So I'm gonna hand back to Go.
Yeah, and the reason why we were excited about this integration, right, is as we were working with the Blackbaud team, told us there's 6,000 RE/NXT customers that have the old sort of legacy RE7 volunteer module, right? And so our goal is to really create something that all of these RE/NXT customers could leverage and use, right? Something a bit more modern, and that still gets them all of that rich data in the database itself. And so since we started, right, so here's a couple examples of different nonprofits that have sort of the Civic Champs integration turned on with RE/NXT. And then, we also serve a number of other nonprofits, hundreds across the country. We're US only right now, US and Canada, I should say, but looking to expand more broadly. So I'll sort of leave it with that. If folks are interested in learning more about Civic Champs or how our integration works, here's a way to book time with me. And then we also have, with Stu, if you're looking to find time with him in terms of learning how RedArc builds apps, and if you're interested in building your own app, I would highly encourage you to think about working with RedArc instead. It's just a much better process. So I think that's it, and we'll open it up to Q&A, or if there's any questions from folks.
Yeah, no, that's really good stuff, fellas. I mean, I've been here 15 and a half years, Blackbaud Convio, and I know that just getting that volunteer data, like you said, that old legacy volunteer management tool that RE/NXT has, and then just kind of building on that and actually making it robust and everything has been one of those things I've always dealt with clients on, and how do they make it a better utilization of that data and stuff. So love seeing all of that. Doesn't look like there's any question. I mean, for me, it's like I was watching along with untainted ears and eyes of seeing this before and stuff, and it seemed like a lot of the questions I would have come up with as an admin or something that you definitely addressed.
Yeah, and let's see. I'm not sure. Those links probably aren't clickable. Let me see if I can help us out here. I'm going to copy the 2 links here and just put them in chat in case.
Yeah, that'd really help. Absolutely.
Yeah, clicking on the image, right? That's like I've a 4 and 8-year-old, and so they're always confused when we're watching something on the TV because they go up to and they get that iPad and it doesn't do anything. So I imagine this interaction could feel similar. You're like, oh, why does the link not work on my screen? So I just put the meeting links for myself and Stu here in chat. So if folks are interested to connect separately, please do.
And are you hanging out with Stu over in Expo Room 3, I think y'all are in? Is that right?
That was very good intel. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so if you obviously spatial chat, this platform gives you the ability to stalk people very easily and find out where they are. But the RedArc has space over in Expo Room 3. So if you're just kind of looking at wandering over there and grabbing ear or something like that, definitely encourage you to do that as well.
Yeah, come and chat with us and virtually.
Yeah.
So.
Fantastic.
All right, and I think I've been forgetting to do this in a lot of my sessions. The Slido survey that we're supposed to throw up at the very end, I've actually been forgetting to do this like all day long until today. Luckily, I've been recording every session. I have my little sign here that says start, stop, record. And so I need to do one for remember the post-session surveys. But thank you, fellas, for this awesome information. Stu, go back and take a nap before it's actually time to clock in for work, I guess. Geng, thank you for all you do. I come from the CSM world over here at Blackbaud for a while. I was there. So I know that some of our CSMs need to kind of check this out. And I'll be sharing that information with them as well to kind of take a peek and see what's possible underneath the hood there.
Yeah, no, thank you. Appreciate that. And,
absolutely. All right. Well, you fellas have a great rest of your conference, and I guess today and tomorrow, right? So look forward to seeing some more stuff. But thank you both for participating and presenting some good content.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks. Cheers.